Hi, everybody. I'm back. It's Caroline. You probably remember me from Faces and Places or Wine and Dine with Caroline. But now I'm here with a new project on Vineyard Time with Caroline. We're going to talk to some people. We're going to go hear some music. We're going to just see what are people doing with their time here on the Vineyard. And I'm very pleased and blessed that our first guest is my dear friend and sister, Farai Williams, and we're going to hear from her, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit and get some inspiration. I always seem to get some inspiration whenever I spend time with you, Farai, so
Appreciate that,
thank you
sister.
so much. So first of all, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
I am Farai Williams, and I'm the founder of Sangha Somatics. And I'm also a certified coach, trainer, teacher. The previous things that also are with me is my work has been at the intersection of theater, youth development, worked with people looking at systems change, these kinds of things. So what our communities were struggling with. So DEIB, undoing racism, all of that is also here. And then leadership. So coaching people at the leadership level, executive level, this is what is at my back. And what I discovered in doing all of that is that we can have as much insight and information as possible, but that doesn't always create the type of change that we want to have in our body. Insight alone is not enough. We want to be able to really make choices with how we be and what we do and how we take action from what we really care about, and it's aligned with our values, the vision, the way that we want to be in the world. And so it's like, oh, how do we step towards that? How do I step more towards that? And I discovered somatics.
Exactly. So can you give us like a definition and a description of what somatics exactly is?
Yes. So somatics really simply means living in the body. Soma is a Greek word. It means the living organism in its wholeness. Sama, which is a hieroglyph, which I always share because, we always got to take it back home. Ancient wisdom in Kemet. The Sama hieroglyph is the unified self. So this unified self within the context of the body, within the context of even upper and lower Kemet or Egypt at the time. So this unifying principle is Sama, Soma, somatics, right? Really, it just means living within the body, living within the wholeness of how we be, do, and act.
So when you discovered somatics, how specifically did it change you? Because it must have really done something, because it sent you on a course of not just practicing, but feeling the calling to share it and be a somatic guide.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. When I discovered, like many people, all of us are yearning to be our full selves, our authentic selves. And what are the different things that we might engage in to bring us more towards that? And that's what somatics did for me. Like I started to notice as I was studying somatics and practicing, oh, there's a way that I've been living that is really reactive, right? Particularly because of the context of who we are and how we've been shaped, right? The phenomenon of what it is to be a Black woman, the phenomenon of what it is to be a woman, the phenomenon of what it is to be a person, right? How do I keep moving towards what I care about? And there were times when I was leaving myself, right? Meaning I'd either be fighting for a thing, even though that's not what I meant to do, right? So something might have happened and it takes me out of myself, right? There's a lot of ideas that other people have had, families have of people, and you're trying to live up to what they want you to do. But you're not living truly from yourself, from your authentic self. And so as I was in my own personal development and looking for practices and ways of being and things that were going to shore me up, somatics was like, oh, this is how you get to regain your capacity to be the operant power in your own life. And so that's what it did for me.
So can you tell us exactly, I'm cheating a little bit because I had the honor of spending 2 days with you, with a group of ladies. It just so happened it was a group of 7 Black women, and we did a 2-day immersion. A lot of them I felt like had a little bit, well, I guess it was varying levels of knowledge and experience with somatics. One of the ladies is actually training to be a guide or a coach herself. But me, I was very new to it. But it was a very intense. So it reminds me, it's in the mindfulness space, right? So it's not yoga, it's not meditation, it's not psychotherapy, but it felt like it was in the realm of all of those things. So can you talk a little bit more about how it is? It's physically, it's a mind and a physical movement, operation and practice as well. It was something about how things manifest in your body, in your muscles, in your cells. I suppose.
At you! Look at you! You better come on! You better come on! Okay, we gonna pop into that. We're gonna pop into that.
Thank you.
So I see somatics as something that is complementary, right? Mindfulness is really about being able to expand outside of really have a level of awareness of what's going on in the body, right? Psychotherapy is looking at the what and the how we came to be in what we might be grappling with, right? Supports us in those spaces. And somatics is really like, okay, so even if we had all of that information, how do we get the body aligned with being able to take action towards what you care about, what you're longing to come online, which is a little bit different. I mean, it integrates it. We have particularly the Strozzi Institute, or the methodology that I am trained in, we do a sitting meditation, right? And we hold that as attention training. But it's not for the sake of taking you out of your body. It's really for dropping you more deeply into your aliveness, what is happening inside of you, right? Like really taking stock and noticing, okay, can I feel my own breath, right? Moving through me. How can I access it? Can I feel all the way down to my feet? Can I feel the ground below me? Can I feel my tissues softening, right? And what does all of that have to do with practicing how to deal with stress, how to deal with the world, how to be in the world with more access, right? So it increases your emotional range. It increases your capacity to meet a stress or an issue that you might be trying to navigate in a moment. So we say with somatics, first you want to become aware of what's actually happening here, right? Not just be a bobblehead, right? Like we think, therefore we are. That's Cartesian. So we think that all of our beingness happens at thought. But the reality is there's 3 billion years of evolutionary wisdom that lives in your tissues that tells you. We say the body will call your bluff on anything. You can say out your mouth and espouse a thing over here, but can you act from that? So somatics is really taking all that you might learn in a psychotherapy session about yourself or the history of how something might have impacted you or come to impact you. But now let's take all of that information, that knowing, and start to work with it. Work with it and align how I respond in real time when something happens. Because information alone, when the guy starts honking at you in your car, you might have listened to a bunch of affirmations that morning that told you stay, relaxed when these kinds of things come up. But in the moment, what happens is this all comes online, right? And you're like, that impulse, I know it's come up in me, that impulse can you give yourself, somatics is practicing giving yourself, okay, I notice the impulse. That's alive. And I'm going to dignify it. That's real. But do I want to just react to this person, or do I want to respond? And respond in a way that holds my own dignity as well as maybe that person's. That person might be trying to rush to the hospital to get to somebody. I don't know what's going on with them, right? But I can know what's going on with me, right? So it's about impacting how we are, and then that will impact how we be and relate and take action in the world with others.
Right.
So how's that landing?
Well, I'm telling you, I feel like I'm back.
you
feel like I'm back at Linda's. No, it was very profound, and because I didn't know what it was, I went into it totally just like a sponge, and just and it was a very emotional experience. Yeah. And another thing I realized that after that day, I had some social things I was supposed to do that night. I went and laid down and went to bed. It was it was emotionally taxing and physically, but not in a bad way. Right. I just felt. And then the next day we all talked, and they all like, "Oh, girl, we went to bed right after dinner." Yeah. So it was a workout in a way.
Well, you know what? I thank you for again. You have this wonderful way of modeling vulnerability, saying things that are on your heart that you might be like, I don't know how to say, I don't know, where this is going to land, but I'm going to do that. And I just want to affirm and dignify that you're doing that, sis. It makes sense. It's not that we're in gym class and so you're doing something physiological that's going to make you feel like, oh, I just had a workout. But I say disorganizing of your tissues to say, right now, I'm in a container where I'm safe and I get to feel my sensations, the foundational language of the body, sensations. Those sensations then bring in you, swell in you some emotion, right? So the minute that we bring the body back online, in most cases, people immediately feel like, oh my gosh, something is starting to release, and it's usually an emotional release that was being held. Because we have what we call armoring bands. They run across the eyes, they cross the forehead, across the eyes, jaw, all down here, throat, here, cross, all the way down. Imagine that you have bands. And when we're in the world, those things get tight. And some of the time, we tighten them ourselves because we're shoring up, right? We're shoring up. The three I mentioned in our session, the three constitutive needs that all humans have is for safety, dignity, and belonging. And if any one of those things is not feeling felt, something activates in us because we have an inherent need for those things. So these
say those again.
Safety, dignity, and belonging. We are social beings, right?
Yes.
So we're always navigating towards that. I promise you, you can take anything that you're doing and align it with one of those things. Like any action that you're taking is because you're trying to establish safety, dignity, or belonging. So I was talking about these constricting bands. Imagine we're in melanin-dominant, beautiful Black bodies. We have a barrage of things coming at us on a regular basis in the world. Just as an example, I mean, all humans do. All humans do. But I'm just going to talk to you from here for now and what we were experiencing together. We're taking in stuff all the time. And some of it, we open up and we meet with a fight. Some of us are like, oh, I got to be away from that. You know, the people who's just like, oh, no, not me. I'm out of here, right? It's hard to stay in it. So when we start to practice saying, you can soften those tissues. What does it feel like to take up the width, the space of who you inherently are? What is it to feel yourself here? You might notice an overwhelming sensation. And when the emotion floods the tissues in the body like that, it's labor. That's why you feel tired. You're like, wait, there have been places I've been holding. I've been in a contraction and I didn't even realize it. So the minute that you are in a context where you get to, what immediately starts to happen is you might start to shake, start to quiver. Your tissues, your organs, everything is starting to come back online. It's like if we had the AC and the AC came on, all of a sudden this will happen.
Right.
But that takes power to do that. So it takes energy and power to do what we do, even when we're like, okay, I'm supposed to be at rest now. Eventually, the body does find, just like water, find its edges and land. But immediately, that cogitation is like, I haven't had a space to say this. Now I do. Oh my God, there's all these emotions. I've been wanting to tell somebody this, and then it's pouring out of you. The floodgates open, girl. It's pouring out of you, and you're like, I didn't even know I felt that deeply about that thing. Because the world told me, and my mama told me, oh girl, don't you go outside. Don't be showing all your wares when you go out there. Keep it together.
Yes.
Keep it together. Tighten. And we have a historical shaping. That says, oh no, you ain't gonna get to see none of that.
Right.
I'm keeping that thing right here.
Yes.
Right here. Right here, and the jaw is tight and snatched, and the breath is only right here, and your hips is narrow because you're tight. Yep. Elegance. But what's behind that?
Right.
It takes labor to do what we do. And then when we get the chance to just let it all out, this starts to happen. You start to, as our brother Resma Menikin says, you start to quake. That thing starts to, and you're like, oh, is it going to stop? And most of us feel like, we talked about this.
It can be frightening.
It can be very frightening because you feel like the minute that I open up, I don't know if I'll stop. I don't know when I'll stop. And I say to people always, just like the ocean, any body of water, and we are made up mostly of water, it comes to its edges. When the tears, when the shaking, when the quaking is spent, when that body gets to soften and it will find its balance. And then we have practices. So let me name here somatics, somatic awareness. You're talking about somatic opening.
Right.
Right? Somatic awareness is sensing, feeling actually what's going on. And when I say feeling, I don't mean having feelings. I'm not talking about catching feelings. I'm talking about feeling in your own tissues what's happening. You say to me, oh, I'm good. And I say, well, how do you know you're good? People go, what's she talking about? Because I said I'm good. Like, I know I'm good. Can you describe what is happening within your own tissues? What helps you know what's good? That's a practice. Right? Knowing what that is. Oh, I'm angry. What does anger feel like in your body? How does it show up? Oh, I feel energy. I feel heat. There's a heat signature. I feel a tightening and a constriction in my chest. I feel this thing start to ping behind my good noticing. Because now when you're in a situation where someone starts to engage with you and you start to feel that, you're like, ooh, I'm heading towards anger. Can I take a pause here and say, is this the response that is necessary in this situation? Or is that just come out of me and I just reacted?
Right. It's a discipline.
It's a practice, we say.
Okay.
Do you remember what we said about practice and how many times?
Practice. It's a practice. It's not a perfection.
Yes. We were in a practice. So our agreement, one of our agreements when we're in the space, is we are in practice. We are not in doing perfection, right? We are in a practice. The reality is the body is always practicing something. The body can't not practice, right? Even when you're not conscious, there are practices that we do all the time. Some people might say, habits or habituated. The body is always practicing something. But when we talk about practice, in order for us to transform towards what we care about, we have to take on some new practices. So these are the three core components of how we approach the work, which is, first of all, you become somatically aware. Like how do I react to things? What does happen in my body? What kind of energy am I generating? I can feel that, right? Know that. So that's awareness.
Okay.
Then there's openings, what you were talking about. You might tear up. You might yawn. You might laugh hysterically. You might yell. You might quake. These openings, because in order to, I always give a gardening analogy. Before you can put down new seeds in anything, you have to till. You have to till the earth. So you have to open. So we need to become porous, open, let some of that stuff out so that we can plant new things in it. So that's the openings. And then practice. So we say, practice you practice 300 times for muscle memory, right? And all of this is supported by neuroscience, by the way. This isn't woo-woo. Because, I can do the woo-woo-woo when I want to, but that's not what we're talking about here, right? Okay? We could do that. But no, what we say is your muscles and your tissue have memory that's connected to what has occurred in the past. And so when you, again, as an example, something grabs your attention, something gets you in a charge, some stress comes in, your body and your tissues have a habituated way of responding. So what we want to do with practice is, they say, practice a new thing 300 times, you get new muscle memory. You practice it 3,000 to 5,000 times, you get embodiment, meaning that's what will show up, right? This is the new thing. You've done it 3,000, 5,000 times, this new practice, and now that's what your body knows to do, right?
Right.
And even we say you transformed once you can do that new thing, take a new action, even under the same old pressure. Yeah.
I need to practice that. I was going back and forth with somebody on Facebook these last couple of days. And let me tell you, you'll be very disappointed in me, Farai.
Never. I'd just be curious. So, baby, why
am I engaging? Yeah, why am I wasting my time on this?
Or not even why you're wasting your time. Why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Yes.
And maybe that's the response you want to have.
I kind of do.
But if you wanted to do something else,
right,
then I'd say, well, what is that something else you want to do, right? That's another thing I want to note here about somatics, which is different than some of the other practices people might go towards. Somatics starts with what you care about. We don't start with what's wrong with you. We don't start with, oh, I need to fix you.
Is this part of like, because what we did at the end, well, we were working on it from the very beginning. Because before we started, what we need to be thinking about was what's the declaration. And that was coming from what we wanted. And that was so, I'm not going to say hard, but it was challenging when you ask somebody the question. And how do you phrase that question when we're trying to get to what it is that
what it is that you
want?
want, what do you care about, what are you longing for, what's emerging in you, right? What's emerging in you that wants to come alive, that you're like, I really want this, but I don't know how to get to it.
I'm afraid to ask.
I'm afraid to get to it.
I don't know. There are so many things that hold you back. Like, I don't think I deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many blocks that keep you from really expressing out loud what it is you really want or who it is you really want to be.
Well, that's because if you recall, the first practice that we did was consent, right? The context that we've all been swimming in is that we have not been given practice in having consent, having agency, right? Knowing what that feels like. What does a yes in my body actually feel like? Like, what does it feel like? Not this automatic response because we're good people, we're good. We don't want to say no to folks. Like all of this socialization and shaping that happens to us, it actually takes us out of our own agency. It takes us out of the practice of consent, which is I can be self-responsive to what actually is happening here. I can feel it. I can make a decision and a choice based on that. So this idea of having a hard time deciding or knowing what you want is because, quite frankly, we haven't been in context where people have given us the space to discover what we want, to practice knowing what we want, because we're disembodied, most of us. We're not actually connected to how we really feel. And again, I'm going to say this, because I know some of my people are going to be like, no, but feelings come up all the time. I know how I feel about a thing. No, the feeling is in the emotions. That is the wave that moves through you. Yes, that's an expression of a sensation that's in the body. Right, that's an expression. But that in and of itself is not like, oh, but am I actually connected to what I care about? Do I know what that is? Do I know what I like? Because I haven't had practice in this here society. Ain't nobody like, oh, well, what you think about that, baby? How you feel? When I was growing up, and I say this, and I'm going to dignify all my ancestors, right? They did all the things. They did the best they can with what they had, and they were trying to keep me safe. So this idea of perhaps ask the child what they would like was not what was rocking in my house. Not at all. No. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't say not at all. I'm trying to talk with the people and bring the people in. Right. But so that people know, we haven't had a lot of places that have given us opportunity to actually feel and know what it is that we want and we desire. So I want to just dignify the process that you were in, the process that the sisters were in. And by the way, there were 8 of us, and that's the infinity sign, come through. That's, honey, we had the village, right? There were 8 of us all together,
yes,
like really power, peace and power,
right.
Love, eternal, the eternal, right? The infinity sign. But we haven't all had opportunity to, one, be held in safety, to be dignified no matter what is here. I don't have to agree with you to hold your dignity as a human. I can dignify myself and dignify you at the same time, even if we don't have the same idea about a thing, right?
Right.
So all of this are not practices that we have been offered.
Right.
Some people have had more places, more access, more context to develop those things in their tissues, and others have not.
Right. You know, I can sit here and talk to you. Well,
Well, you know, I could see, like
can
you,
talk
you
for
know,
2
drop
days.
me in and I'll be
Listen.
all in it.
Okay. I guess we have time for maybe one quick thing, and that is we're going to put all your information on so people can know how to get in touch with Sangha Somatics and learn more about it and find out when you're going to be doing some other immersion and all of that. But can you just show us one quick thing that we can do when, to get started on the journey, just to start in the whole process of getting into our body?
Well, getting into the body. Well, I usually offer the practice. Remember the one we did with the fist? Just so people can, because I'm the somatic muse, so I'm over here trying to figure out what is the one.
I'm sorry, I didn't prep you for this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I want to invite everyone that's watching to ball up their fist, right? Ball up your fist. And imagine that this is your body. Imagine that this is you. And you're contracted. You're in your life. You're doing your thing. It's tight. And now I want you to take this one over here and try to pry your fingers open. Seriously, y'all out there do this, right? What do you notice happening when you try to pry it open?
It gets tighter.
Okay, shake that off. Because you know that. When somebody try to come in and fix you and tell you, even you, I'm going to do a thing, or you want undignifying yourself, then something in you shuts down, right? Take the same fist, ball it up. And now, in this other hand, I want you to energetically imagine that you're sending love, right? This is the hand that for some touch their children's head. This is the hand that maybe you rub your grandmother's feet. There's love, love. This is the hand that you place on your sister to say, girl, it's okay. There's love. With this love, I want you now to lovingly hold the fist. And now just move in the direction that the fist is trying to go. And again, just loving it. Yeah. What do you notice happening in the fist now?
It loosens. I don't know. I don't understand this. I didn't understand it when you did in the immersion, but it actually happens.
Well, this is what we call a blend, right? Because the reality is, and now you can let go of your hands. What that is essentially exemplifying is how you approach a thing with care, with dignity, with love, and going in the direction of it gets to soften, right? It gets to soften. So this is the approach that we want to be doing with ourselves. We want to dignify. There's a reason why we're who we are, right? We got it honest, right? And we want to dignify that. The little girl that is me that had to figure out how she was going to get love, how she was going to be safe, how she was going to be belonged, and keep a little bit of her dignity, she came up with some fierce strategies. Fierce strategies.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And those strategies have gotten me to be where I'm sitting today. So I love her, right? Good job. And there's some other things that I might want to do now. That some of those strategies that I've been practicing all this time that has filled into my tissues. I can't get to this other place.
Holding on to
them, right? But before we go here, we want to say, oh no, good job. Good job. That's why I say somatics, we don't start with what's wrong with you. We actually dignify. There's a reason that you are the way you are in your beautiful, bold bodacious, come get it self. We want to love up on ourselves and say,
I have
and
the
is there
capacity
something
to
else? And I
change.
have the capacity to do some more. I have the
Yes,
capacity
I love
to
that.
do some more. There's some other things I want in life. There's some things that I don't even know that I've imagined yet, but I can imagine that there are other things that I want to be able to do. That these embodied tendencies, these ways that I've been practicing, these strategies that I've used, these tactics that I've used, they're not going to get me there.
Right.
So
thank you so
That's
much,
it.
Farai. I appreciate you so much. I love you. And if you get an opportunity to, if you ever get an opportunity to check in and go and participate in any of these practices with Farai, I highly recommend it.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
And wait, I know that it might be the last moment, but I have to name one. I love Martha's Vineyard. I've been coming here since I was a child. And for the last 5 years, I have been longing to be to be on island all year round, but to be the offer. And the Chilmark Community Center of
Yes.
Island is the place that I found home, the organization that stepped in to partner with me so that I could offer that. So I have to shout them out, must shout them out. And I am open, looking to continue to partner. I am here to coach. I am here to teach, all the things. I want to be the invitation. But I absolutely
Thank
had
you
to
so
name
much.
them.
And yes, Susan, we had a beautiful day up at the yard on the first day.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. They did a great job.
Yeah.
I'm spending a lot of time up island, y'all. Don't y'all make me be an up island girl. I never saw that. Maybe that's part of my somatic
Okay.
changing. No, I'll always be OB. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. This is our first episode of On Vineyard Time with Caroline. Thank you so much, Dee Farai. And we'll see you again. I have some good things planned for us this summer. There's a lot of excitement. We're not just going to do the typical. We're not just going to do the parties and all that. There's some other things going on this island that, that us grown-ups need to start embracing. Now, we do love a little party. We did do a little of that last night, too.
A little of that
last night. But, balance.
Lovely.
Thank you guys so much. It's Caroline, and we'll see you again on another episode of On Vineyard Time. Bye.